Good to see you all. And also today I'm a little bit nervous up here because I am going to exercise a woman's prerogative. I am changing my mind about my topic.
Oh boy.
And as I sit here a little bit apprehensive about that, I get this message through the beautiful music that has been so perfect to my new topic.
We did not speak before the show.
Which is Unrequited Love. I'm going to need water for this. For those of us on a spiritual path, joy and bliss, it's what we live for. But as human beings, we're not always enjoying bliss, are we? Grief, I think, is probably the most powerful emotion that we have to deal with. Grief unspoken festers within the soul. Our emotions and feelings, regardless of how we may judge them as positive or negative, for goodness sake, are always valid. They are always and must always be honored. And to return ourselves to those levels of joy and bliss, we must sometimes take inward and retrospective looks at our feelings, and especially those, I think, that tend to strike us the hardest. That would be loss of a loved one, or perhaps unrequited love. I think most of us have just about recovered from the Christmas season. Well, I got an unusual gift this Christmas. I got a box from my daughter. Oh, a gift. Well, my daughter returned to me everything that ever reminded her of me, because she wants no longer to be a part of my life. As a parent, our children are the ones that we live for, that we want to see safe and happy and healthy, and that we desire the most to return the love to us that we should. I can't say this was a surprise because my daughter hasn't been speaking to me for months. I've done everything in my power to reconcile. If someone refuses to speak to you, it becomes rather difficult. So I got myself a shoebox, put a slit in the top, in very nice calligraphy, put the guide box on front of me. I wrote my daughter's name, and I put it in the guide box, where there it remains. Because one of the hardest lessons of love is to learn not to be attached. These children that we bring into this world, or that we adopt, in my case, they're not ours. They're God's. And it is in God's care, fully, that we must give them, regardless of our emotions. But did that not feel painful? You bet it did. It's a slap in the face to everything I've ever done for this child. I can't say I was a perfect parent. I'm sure it wasn't. But to me, love and reconciliation have always been a possibility until now. So I turned to God, as always. God, teach me what this is about. Why is this happening? What am I to learn from it? And of course, at first, I have the usual tendency to get in the mind, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? What did I do? Have I been a bad parent in some way, committed some unforgivable sin? I have to ask myself this and search my soul, and I cannot see anything I've ever done for her but love her. And then I think, well, my greatest desire would be to have that love returned. And in my ponderings, I think, how does God feel about this? Well, think about God. You think God has feelings? I want to know God. I want to know God's thoughts. I want to know God's feelings. I want to know first and foremost, and to experience and to embody the love of God within me. And I think if God does feel feelings, wouldn't God feel first and foremost unrequited love? As God pours upon us blessings, this beautiful planet, the beauty of each other, beauty and love unconditionally, just pouring forth from the love of the I am that I am. If the Creator feels, don't you think that there are much more times when the love of that Creator is not even noticed, much less appreciated, much less returned? Do you not think this might be part of the prompting for the first commandment? Love the Lord your God with all your mind and all your heart and all your soul. At first, when I read that, I resisted it. You're demanding me to love you. I think it's more of a request. I think it's more a desire, if God has such things, to only experience part of that love in return. I think we've all experienced unrequited love. Love that is not returned to us, or love that is not returned to us in equal measure. Should that stop us from loving? Do you think it stops God from loving? I love my daughter. Today, I will always love her as I place her in God's hands. But then I have to ask God, and I think this is so much of the healing. It's like, God, I want to understand. We want to understand. If there's a way that I can grow from this, what would that be? If there's a lesson in this for me personally, what would that be? And of course, like all our other requests to God, if we have an attachment to having to know that answer, to having to realize what it is, because we think that is our answer, then it won't come. It only comes when it is fully released. But it causes me also to reflect upon my life as a whole. My mother doesn't speak to me either. My mother hasn't spoken to me in 20 years. But that I understand. I understand what a disappointment I am to my mother. simply because of my sexual orientation. I understand that in her life, that's just something that she cannot deal with. I get that. I understand it. But my brother passed away. My brother didn't speak to me either. Is there something wrong with me, I have to ask? Well, I understand my brother too. My brother was an alcoholic who drank himself to death. There was not room in his heart for me. But then I have to look. I have to look at my life. My mother, my brother, now my daughter want nothing to do with me. It's only after I let go that God told me. It's a foregone conclusion. I'm like, what do you mean? A foregone conclusion. The other things that my mother, my brother, and my daughter have in common are they're self-proclaimed atheists. To me, for someone to deny the existence of God is also to deny me. What other outcome could there possibly be? And while I have compassion for them, because to me, life without God is the pure definition of hell. So I understand them. I understand where they're coming from. But do I understand love? Not for a minute. Because it is somehow the piercing of the heart that opens the heart. Wouldn't it be nice if it was some other way? But it is the feelings of our emotions that allows us to get past them. It is the piercing of the heart that continues to open it and cleanse it. Because my prayers are always, God, show me how to be loved. And if there's any hardness of heart in me, I want it gone. I want it out. The Bible says, love thine enemies. I don't feel like I have any enemies, but I have family. So I think that's enough. Who needs enemies when you have family? I think the greatest gift that my daughter has given me is to teach me a truly unselfish, unconditional love. And after all, that's what I came here to learn. And no one ever said life's lessons would be easy. But with the love, there must be a wisdom. And that wisdom only comes from understanding. And it is that understanding that can give us comfort when we lose those that are dear to us, however that may happen. But then I look at the flip side of that coin, and the Creator says to me, you're forgetting something. That's not unusual. Jesus said, those who love God are your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, and your children. So that leaves you, Crystal Coast, to be my family. And that brings me joy. And so it is.